What do you do when you see your teenage son falling deep into addictions like drugs, alcohol, and pornography? A parent could be left feeling overwhelmed and helpless, but there is hope. For over 10 years, Rock Solid Refuge has been the residential program of choice by families as a faith-based solution for 13 to 18-year-olds with addictions, behavior, or substance abuse issues. Joining us today via Skype from Shaunavon, Saskatchewan is the founder and executive director of Rock Solid Refuge, Dallas Block. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, it's good to be with you, even from a distance like this.
Absolutely. Now tell us about what led you to starting Rock Solid Refuge.
My wife and I had gotten involved working with young people in some local churches that we were a part of, worked as a youth pastor for a number of years. And during the time while I was youth pastoring, a young man that I knew, and I knew his family, got caught up in crystal meth. So at 16 years old, he was a crystal meth addict. And his family exhausted all of the resources that were available to them at that time. And because I was a close family friend, I ended up quite involved in that whole journey. And after exhausting all of those resources for a teenager and realizing there's no long-term treatment program, especially Christian-based in Canada, we said, hey, let's see if we can start one. And so that started the journey of starting Rock Solid Refuge.
Amazing. Now tell us why you focus on boys ages 13 to 18 for this residential program.
Yeah, you know, really what it came down to was when you see young people in trouble, you have to start somewhere. And so we started just working with guys, and really our heart is for all young people across Canada that are struggling with life-controlling issues of all kinds. And so, Lord willing, if we get an opportunity, we will work with girls as well, whether on this campus that we currently have or other campuses that God gives us the opportunity to open up across Canada.
And do you know if there's a similar program like this for adolescent girls who are struggling? Why is this, specifically targeted for boys?
As far as we know, parents are having to reach outside of Canada to find a program for teen girls that is, long-term Christian residential treatment based. So it's a huge need, and it's just simply not being met at this time.
That's unfortunate. Now, you mentioned Rock Solid Refuge is faith-based. So what principles are the foundation for this work?
We really look at the principles of responsibility, maturity, and charity as being kind of the foundation of what our goals are for the young people that come into Rock Solid Refuge. And so obviously they're coming for a reason. Things aren't going well in their lives or in their families and their situation. And at some level or another, we want to help them see what their responsibility is. As they grow into young men, we want them to mature and become people who not only see what they need to take care of for themselves, but also see the world around them and where is it that they're supposed to contribute and be productive members of society even, and really be a blessing rather than what their lives were, which was really quite a struggle and a challenge for the people around them. We hold students accountable to honesty and to respect and obedience, and those are kind of foundational principles for us here. And we work primarily through the three basic means of role modeling, relational influence, and authority. And so we see that as kind of like a three-legged stool that we want to keep in balance at all points. We're a highly relational program. But even as we look at those things, being a distinctly Christian program, we see that all through the lens of a Christian worldview, understanding that our God is a God of grace and truth.
Okay, so Dallas, explain maybe what happens when a boy first enters Rock Solid Refuge.
To be honest with you, the first day at Rock Solid Refuge is actually a bit traumatic. For parents, they're bringing their young person, sometimes from across Canada, to this place that many would say is in the middle of nowhere, because Southwest Saskatchewan is a pretty wide open country. And so here they are bringing their young person to our location, and they're really signing them over into the care of people that they don't know. And so it's a pretty traumatic experience actually for the parents. There's often tears. And for the young person, everything that they know is kind of being taken away from them. There's everything that they're familiar with is kind of gone. They lose their cell phone. That's pretty traumatic as well. But we work pretty hard really quickly to help them understand that this is a place that they'll be safe. This is a place where there is relationships. This is a place where people will like them and enjoy working with them. It is a structured environment, but it's a structured environment where they can find help and healing.
I would imagine that's extremely traumatic, because I would imagine some of those kids are there not willingly, right? Like their parents are kind of making them do this, and maybe they're addicted to a drug that they no longer have access to. Like that's got to be crazy hard for the staff too to deal with. You must have addiction specialists and all kinds of stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, every student does sign in, and they recognize that they're kind of in a position where their options are pretty narrow because the struggle and the challenges have gotten pretty drastic in their situation. So they do sign in, but it is, often kind of like a last resort for all of them. And so it is a struggle. And at the end of the day, like I said, our staff work hard relationally as fast as possible. And that's really what becomes kind of the foundation of all the other work that we're able to do with the students, is that they recognize that we really actually do care and we want their best interests. So that really gets us a long ways, actually fairly quickly.
And the boys that come to the refuge, you provide school education, so they're not falling behind even further in school. Can you maybe tell us a bit more about this?
Yeah, that's been an incredible journey for us as well. We were able to get our accreditation with the Ministry of Education in Saskatchewan really early on in our time of running this ministry. And the Ministry of Education in Saskatchewan has been a great partner in the work that we do. They really get what we do because they understand that the kinds of young people we work with here are the kinds that are falling through the cracks in the public system. And so they're excited to work with us. We have a fully accredited school, grades 7 to 12 we can teach. So whatever grade level that students are in when they come, they just pick up from where they're at. Our teachers assess those things and then just get them going in their education. It's also one of the areas that is the quickest place to see some change happen and some hope come into them. A lot of them have been labeled as maybe not very smart, maybe they didn't do very well in school, but truthfully, it has nothing to do with intelligence. It's opportunity, it's surroundings, it's choices, and now they have that opportunity in a setting that really gives them the ability to succeed in education.
That's very inspiring. Now, Dallas, you also have an equine assisted therapy program, right? So tell us what the boys learn from this and its impact on them.
Yeah, that's been incredible as well. So we've been able to do horse riding here for a bit, but this past summer we were able to start an actual equine therapy component. And so one of our staff became our full-time equine facilitator. And so when a new student would come in, he would just spend the morning, his first morning would be with our equine facilitator and with horses. And it just kind of eased that transition incredibly. And so, rather than kind of coming up to lunch their first day, kind of, still not sure about being here and everything, these guys are coming in from outside just excited about what they just got to do, not only with the equine facilitator, but with these animals that are just amazing and incredible creatures.
It's amazing what horses can do, what an animal can do to boost your mood, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how long do the boys stay with you?
We are a 12-month program, and so our program is structured around 6 different levels, and each level just has a different amount of time that is expected of it, but we really believe that lasting change takes time. It's not enough just for them to come off of the substances and that the chemical addiction is broken, but rather lifestyle choices and really a new lifestyle has to come into play. And we also want to work with just fundamental beliefs. And so it's an incredible joy to us when we see the students being willing to wrestle with their fundamental belief system as a way for them to see change come into their lives.
So are the boys that come to you only from Christian homes? Not necessarily, right?
No, we're open to young people coming here from all kinds of backgrounds. So a young person's background has nothing to do with whether or not they'd be accepted into the program here. And we're just excited to get applications of people that are in need and see how we can serve them. There's plenty of times we've had students that have come and, you know, if you gave them a Bible and said, "Can you find the book of Genesis for me?" They'd be like, "I don't know what Genesis is." And that's fine. We're glad to just kind of take a journey with them and explore what the Christian faith is all about.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned that you're in the middle of nowhere, so Shaunavon, Saskatchewan, but of course you also said that it's not just kids from Saskatchewan that are coming. They're coming from all over Canada. So what's your capacity, and are you looking to expand?
Yeah, our capacity is actually just 10 students at this point, so it's a pretty small student body. And yes, we are definitely looking to expand. Um, Really, our greatest challenge with that is just resources. It's financial. We really believe that we have the program, kind of the structure that we would need to expand what we're doing. Finding staff, I think there's people out there that are passionate about what we're doing and would love to come on board with us to be a part of what we're doing here. And facilities can be built. And so our hope is, Lord willing, that we'll be able to build more houses out here. And so, you know, we kind of see the ideal group size as being around 8 students in a group. And so building houses out here so that we would have the capacity of 30 to 40 young people, guys and girls, in fact, would be kind of our ideal to see this site developed. And then we'd love to see an opportunity to open up campuses in other parts of Canada.
Mm-hmm. Now, with a capacity of only like 8 to 10 students, you must have a long waiting list.
Yeah, I mean, the waiting list fluctuates. It goes up and down, but currently, yes, there is a pretty long waiting list right now. So it's really sad when we get phone calls and we say, well, it's going to be a few months before we have a bed available. We are actually working right now to open up 4 extra beds even in the new year. So we're hoping that in January we'll have 4 extra beds to offer. We have a house on site on our campus that we're going to repurpose into a transition house. And so we'll be able to at least serve 4 more. And Lord willing, as resources come in, we will expand and work with more young people.
Right. Do you have any success stories that you could share?
Yeah, a couple of them that come to mind right away are right now we have 4 either staff or interns that are previous students from here. And so, you know, 4 of these young people that we had in our program, they graduated. Some of them went on to other things and then came back as full-time staff. And we have a couple of interns as well. And it's just incredible to see them come into this place and want to give of themselves for the good of the young people that come into it, which really fits our model of, you know, responsibility, maturity, and charity, right? And so they become a really amazing example to the students that are in the program as well. Another couple of just amazing success stories, and this is really the heart of what we do, which is 2 of our guys that are here right now recently gave their hearts to the Lord Jesus Christ. And so those are just some of those moments where you're like, this is why we do what we do. And one of those guys shared in a church just recently that we did a presentation in, and part of what he put into his presentation was he was just amazed at how God has changed his desires, that he wants to do things differently. He doesn't want to go back to the old way that he was, even though he knows when he first came to Rock Solid, he just wanted to get through it and get back to his old life. That's not his desire anymore. So those are those times when we're just so amazed by what God is doing in this place.
So, Dallas, how can viewers help your cause in rescuing teenaged boys from addictions?
Check us out online. RockSolidRefuge.com is our website. We've actually got a lot of resources there as well. So parents who might be struggling with a teenager, maybe it's not to the point where you need kind of some residential treatment or something like that. We also have some other resources that are available for parents. We want people to get familiar with who we are and what we offer in some of those ways as well. We also really do need financial partners. We have a student sponsorship program called Partner for Change. You'll find that on our website. We need monthly donors as well as one-time donors to help us. And hey, you know what? We're going into the Christmas season. We really want to be giving families the opportunity to have hope. So if you're really enjoying some great family time, remember those who are having more of a struggle of it. You might be in crisis. And we're helping a lot of those situations.
Thank you so much, Dallas, for your time. It looks like we are out of time, unfortunately, but Dallas Block with Rock Solid Refuge out of Shaunavon, Saskatchewan. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks so much for the opportunity.